Jumper. Commence countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Transformers, more than meets the eye. The Transformers, more than meets the eye.
Hello, and welcome to Transformers ToyCast, episode 17. I am TFG1 Mike, and joining me this time is Pecan Court Michael. Hello.
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm fine.
You're fine?
I want to say I couldn't be better, but I'm sure I could.
I was going to say, you know what FINE stands for, don't you?
Do tell.
Freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional.
Freaked out, yeah. Oh, okay. I thought that was more like fun, but there's more letters in there than yeah.
Well, you don't count the and.
Freaked out? Is there an apostrophe in there?
Oh, well, hell if I know.
Yeah. I'm sure that's funnier in email.
Well,
some things don't translate to the spoken word very well.
Well, go watch the 2003 version of the Italian Job, and that's where I got it from. So, yeah.
Okay.
Let's see what's been going on. We had the third Geekcast Radio contest, which actually got surprisingly amount of good response, only because the prize was like, I don't know, stellar.
Hi.
What? Wait, what? What the hell?
Hi.
Yeah, we already know that you're here. What the hell?
That's the Japanese confirmation.
Oh, yes.
To let you know that I'm still listening. It's kind of like, yeah, I hear you.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
So anyway, I had gotten, I said, alright, well, whatever. I had some extra money at the beginning of last month, and of course since then I've been in the hole a few times. Anyway,
Hi.
knock it off, goddammit.
Alright, I'll stop it.
So anyway,
I'll explain that later, okay.
I bought 3 copies of the Transformers Animated Allspark Almanac. Kept one for myself, and I'm going to give 2 away for prizes. So, we actually had 14 people enter. It actually got promoted on allspark.com. And the author, well, one of the authors, Jim Sorensen, actually emailed me about it, so we may actually have him on in the future when he has more news on a potential Volume 2 of the Almanac.
The up until now rumored Volume 2.
Yes, the up until now rumored Volume 2.
I guess somebody got in trouble for actually stating that there would be a Volume 2.
Well,
and people jumped up and said, "Oh, hold on now."
no, that's not what happened. Well, I mean, I really don't know what happened. I know from what I've read, what happened was Derek Wyatt on Twitter said something about it, but the way he I'm talking like I don't know what the hell actually happened, because actually I don't. But the way I've understood it to come is that the way he was talking about it made it sound like Volume 2 was coming like now, like it was in production right now, and it was coming out in a few months from the original release of the one we have now.
Yeah.
And apparently that's not the case. So,
which would make sense, because when you're working on the first version, I'm sure there's lots of content that comes and goes, and you basically say, "Hey, we should probably put this in the second version."
Well,
so I'm sure there's a goodly chunk of content just waiting in the wings.
Yeah, I don't know if you listened to ToyCast episode, I think it was 15, was when I started talking about it. My only complaint about it was I originally thought it was going to be a complete type of almanac thing where it's the entire show of Transformers Animated.
An encyclopedia.
Yes, it's only the first 2 seasons in the actual almanac. But it's got a lot of cool stuff in it. So at least they saved out, the season, because, I mean, season 3, you can put you could put an almanac together for just season 3 anyway, with as much stuff that season 3 gave us. So I mean, but at first I either misinterpreted it as being a complete, I guess, quote unquote public show Bible,
Right.
but you know, it wasn't.
Well, seeing as though that there's more content that could be available in season 3 for the next version, then
Yeah.
yeah, I can see splitting it up into two. What would be really nice is if they had season 3 and whatever plans they had, if they would leak those, plans for season 4. I mean,
Yeah.
the season 4 that was never actually created,
Yes.
but I'm sure that they had ideas of what was going to happen.
Right. Well, I don't know if you've actually had a chance to pick one of these up because I actually have it in my hand right now.
I haven't seen it yet.
Well, order it offline. That's what I did.
Okay.
If you open up to the contents page, it actually shows you on part of the contents page the early art of the title logo. So it's Transformers animated, but it's not the actual logo that we got. It's other logos that they were thinking of using.
Yeah.
And, that's really cool. So, I mean, they do show you a lot of behind the scenes, what could have been, what would have been, what we could have gotten type
Right.
stuff. So, and there's a lot of stuff in there. It's a really cool book. Christ, it's bigger than I thought it was going to be. I said this in ToyCast 15 when the mailman handed me the box from Amazon because I ordered 3 of these things. It weighed like 5 pounds. I almost dropped the damn box down the stairs.
Wow. I was kind of expecting like a double-sized comic book.
Oh, dude, this thing is huge. I mean,
Yeah.
it basically take a comic book, take about, I don't know, 10 comic books, put them together as far as thickness.
Yeah.
It-
It's about 300 pages.
It's 220 pages, I believe.
That's pretty good still.
Yeah, 220 pages. And it's got a whole bunch of character design, stuff like that. Pretty much all the Autobots, Decepticons from the first 2 seasons are in here. You know, basically it's a coffee table book
Huh. Interesting.
of type of. That's the best way I can describe it as far as its size. It's something that you would something you would see on a coffee table type of deal, like a very thick magazine.
Huh.
Yes. So what's been going on with you? When was the last time you were on? Was it episode 13, 13.5? I know, hell, I don't even remember.
Were we talking about Robots in Disguise Bruticus?
Oh, yeah, that was probably 13 or 13.5.
I think it was 13.5. Yeah.
Probably. I can't remember. It's been so long. So what's been going on with you?
Mostly playing with the kids. Yeah. As far as Transformers go, I haven't done a whole lot lately.
There's a whole lot going on.
Well, I'm not real thrilled with the movie line. I think I mentioned that before,
Yes.
and there's really not much else out there. That's about it. I did pick up the 2 new activators that came out: the Transformers animated
Oh,
Grimlock.
okay.
Yeah, the Grimlock and the Soundwave.
Yeah.
I like him. I dig him. So yeah, I got those 2, and that's about it as far as Transformers collecting goes. And I had a dry spell during the first movie too.
Well, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't like the movie line in general. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I mean, it could be Transformers 10, and the movie aesthetic would still, make me turn away from the toy.
Yeah. What's bothering me now is I'm seeing the new comics that are coming out of IDW. Well, they take the classics look, where it's like the classic Optimus Prime and classic Dinobot, and then they overlay the movie aesthetic so that their faces look like the movie toys, and the joints, and just the way the pieces of their body fit together look very movie like, and I just think it looks like ass.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of like the reimaginings of the way they look. I think Don Figueroa redesigned these, and I can see where he's going. I mean, I really like the classics look, but I really don't like the movie look. And when you marry the two aesthetics up together, it just turns me off. I'm not pleased with it. I'm sure there's a lot of people who do like it, but I mean, as a compromise, for a lot of people who don't like the movie toys, it's like, well, these are classics toys. They're much better because they look like Transformers as opposed to Bayformers.
Yeah.
But no, they, you screw up their faces and it's not helping.
We've said it before, and we'll say it again. Michael Bay, you raped our childhood.
Just bent my childhood over and took a stick to him.
Oh God.
Yeah, not a pleasant thing. Like, it's like my childhood was sent into the backyard to the willow tree to cut off a stick to beat itself with, and my childhood's just walking back to the house, just sobbing, just swinging his stick through the air, knowing full well he's gonna get his ass beat with it. Michael Bay waiting in the house behind the swinging screen door. Bring me that stick, boy! I'll beat your ass with it.
Oh crap!
Yeah, that's about. Yeah. Anyway, so enough of my complaints about that type of thing.
First of all, I'm the boss of this show, so I can pretty much do whatever the hell I want. And since I don't have any more Transformers toys,
Yes, boss.
I'm going to be talking about DC Universe superheroes. It's part of the Justice League Unlimited line. I've got 7 of them here. I'm just gonna pick one up, talk about it really quick. I'm not gonna go into great detail. I've got Superman in my hand right here. First thing I noticed about this thing, since I've been looking at it here, he has his cape, which is kind of not really pleather, but it's that type of glossy material for his cape. First thing I noticed is, because his face and stuff is flesh color, like it's supposed to be. But there's a little slit in between where his neck is and where his cape is. And the first thing I thought of, holy crap, Batman could put an ice cube down Superman's cape. You put an ice cube down the back of somebody's shirt. It does come with a little piece of kryptonite. I don't know why.
As an accessory?
Yeah, as an accessory.
Is the cape removable?
No, it's. Oh wait, no, it's on there.
Okay, see, I don't know if you remember this far back, but the vintage Star Wars toys, like the Darth Vader and the Obi-Wan, had the plastic capes
that came off.
Yeah, they came. Well, you had to lift their arms straight up and then kind of weasel it up over his arms. But yeah, you could take them off.
Yeah.
But I hated those. Hated those.
I like the Star Wars movies, but I never really got into the toys.
Well, I was 4.
Well,
so
even then, when I was a kid, it was either He-Man, Transformers. Oh Christ, I can't believe I'm going to admit this. Captain Planet or James Bond.
Yeah, I wouldn't admit that.
Well, James Bond is alright. Next up is Batman. The first thing I notice about him, he has a Batarang thing that comes with him for an accessory. But when I was trying to pose him originally for a picture to go online, these figures all have really, really hard defined joints. Like they bend at the elbow and they bend at the knee. Only issue is when I was posing Batman and I bent him at the knee joint, it looks like he broke his fucking knee. It looks like somebody smashed his knee.
Oh, the way the pieces fit together?
Well, no, it's not the way they. Well, yeah, but I mean the leg is.
Well, when it's fully extended, the knee fits together firmly, but then when you bend it, they pull apart.
Yeah.
So it looks like there's a huge divot where his knee should be.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And then the same thing with his cape. You can't put an ice cube down his back because obviously he has the cowl.
Yeah.
None of the heads on these. Oh wait, no, they do. Okay, I'm wrong. I thought none of the heads turn, but the heads do turn.
He can turn his head with a cowl?
Yeah.
Well, that's got to be worse than the knee, because then you've got cowl sticking off the side.
Well, no, his head is the cape and the cowl over his face is actually it's a separate piece. The cape is the same thing as Superman's, but instead of showing Batman's neck,
Yeah.
instead of showing his flesh skin, it's the cape coming around. It's basically like if you took Batman and crossed him with Little Red Riding Hood, where the cape comes over the front of your.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean his head is completely separate from the actual cape part.
Right.
I wonder if Superman's head turns 360 degrees. Holy crap, I'm doing. Oh.
It's the Exorcist Superman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It does.
Your mother sews socks that smell.
At first, I thought I was gonna break his head off, but no. Next one is Flash. He comes with a lightning bolt type of thing, I guess, because he's I guess because he's super fast. And again,
Now, does he have similar articulation to the rest of them?
yeah, with the arms and the legs. Yeah, I don't know about that. Ooh, his little yellow things on his mask. They actually are. They're not completely separate, but the antenna at the top are. And yes, he does. I think. Yep, his head turns 360.
Nice. Well,
Yep.
it shouldn't happen. That would hurt.
The only I like as I did that. What if he went insane and started doing that like really really fast, turning his head all the way around?
I think that only works with Plastic Man. Plastic Man can pull that shit off. This guy can't. Yeah.
Next up is Huntress, and of course she has the same cape as everybody else as far as the caped ones.
Oh.
She comes with a crossbow. Actually, her hairpiece is, which I don't think her head is going to turn. Oh, wow, it does. Holy crap.
Her hair is separate from her head.
Well, no, it's not.
It's not part of the mold.
It's part of her head mold. It's not part of the cape. Like, it's part of the head, but it just, I don't know. It's just.
No, I was afraid it was like just, a separately molded chunk of plastic that was put on top of the standard female head.
No, her cape actually feels like it could come off because it's very loose around her tits. Oh, sorry, kids, but
Nice.
that's the truth.
I will now fondle the action figure.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Anyway, next up is Lex Luthor. He comes with some sort of energy saw.
For the record, Lex Luthor does not have tits. So.
Yes, we know.
Okay, good. Now you know.
Yes, and knowing is half the battle.
And the other 25% is
Uh,
red lasers.
wait. If knowing is half the battle, the other 50% would be
No. The other 25% is red lasers. And the remaining 25% is blue lasers.
Mm.
It's a pie chart. Come on.
Oh,
You haven't seen this?
no.
Oh, you don't like G.I. Joe.
No.
Yeah, so, okay, never mind then.
Wait a minute. You can't just call me out on it. It's not that I don't like it. It's just I was never exposed
We're
with.
constantly ragging on G.I. Joe.
I'm not. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm going to call you out here on the ToyCast episode with Mask, and you're like all about the Mask. Mask is the greatest thing ever.
No, it's,
And then you're like Kanye West and saying, oh, G.I. Joe, I'm going to let you finish, but, I'm going to tell you right now that Mask was the best cartoon ever.
we're not talking about fucking Kanye West in any of these damn shows. That
What I'm getting at here is that they created the Matt Tracker figure in the G.I. Joe line.
yeah.
And you had glowing reviews of all things Mask, except for the one G.I. Joe character that they made for the Matt Tracker figure. And for that, you said, this is utter crap. It shouldn't have been made. And I'm thinking, you know what? It's an old property that Hasbro just happens to have the ownership for. I think it's a good nod to the fans of the Mask.
The Mask
That's
banner,
Mask
not
cartoon.
the fucking G.I. Joe banner.
See? You don't like G.I. Joe.
It's not that I don't like G.I. Joe.
Always ragging on the Joe.
I don't think other properties need to be mixed in with the G.I. Joe figure.
Joe fans are going to hate on you. Wait till you get the fan mail.
Excuse me, what fan mail? Anyway, Lex Luthor, he has absolutely no leg articulation other than at the hip, like right where his crotch is, like move his leg up and down, but he has no knee articulation whatsoever, I don't think.
Now, describe Luthor a little bit, because Batman is Batman, Superman's Superman. aside from a slight variation in color shade, they're always going to look the same. But Luther could be in a suit. He could be in that green thing he wears. He could be in his power armor, his anti-Superman armor.
Okay.
What's this one look like?
It's basically, if you've seen the episode of Justice League, the very last episode, Destroyer, he has this, like, kind of like a holster with his gun, and he's all in green. He has black boots. He's basically a combat type of figure. And the way they show him here is he's white, which, as we all know in the cartoons, he was black.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, he's very light-skinned. I mean, they portray him as an African American in the cartoon. I mean, Bruce Timm even said that they intentionally portrayed him as an African American for some odd reason. I don't know why. His legs, as I said, only go up and down at the waist. He does come with I don't know, some sort of green. It's not kryptonite, but it's some sort of green gun. He has no arm articulation like the superheroes do either. He's a very bland figure now that I'm looking at him. I gotta save that one for last. Before we went on air, I had said "ooh" to you, and I realized why I said "ooh" was because the Shining Knight figure from Justice League Unlimited. I didn't realize that he's all yellow.
Yeah.
Like it's like he's in a yellow jumpsuit, and he has, of course, the flesh-colored face, and then like the knight, I don't know, silver helmet. Well, he has a red tunic, and I didn't realize before when I had this figure that the tunic is actually kind of separate from the actual figure. So it's like you could put an ice cube down his back too. No, I mean that's the best way I can describe it because it's not actually molded onto the actual figure itself.
Right.
The yellow thing.
It's kind of like a cape that goes over both sides.
Yeah, basically.
Front and back, yeah.
And actually, it's very, very weird that the bottom part of him, of the tunic/skirt, there's a hole right there. Not an actual hole like the for Rodimus, but the skirt kind of can move. Like I can fit my thumb underneath it, which is kind of weird. But anyway, and he comes with a sword, which is, I guess, kind of cool.
Does he have a shield? Doesn't the character have a shield?
I think in the cartoon he did, but he only came with a sword.
Well, seeing as though Huntress didn't actually get any weapons, so.
What?
Didn't Huntress not get any weapons?
Yeah, she had a crossbow. I got it right here.
Oh, who was I thinking didn't have weapons? The Flash.
No, he has a yellow lightning thing that you can put in his hand. Like.
I was thinking, well, they had to be cutting corners somewhere with the plastic, so.
Yeah. And then you have Vixen, who was also she came later in the Justice League Unlimited episode. She has, like, basically you can attach Wolverine-type claws to her hands. They are separate, but that's her accessory. So it's basically like she's holding Wolverine claws.
Ah. Yeah. So she's like Power of the Lion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then, of course, last but not least is John Stewart, the Green Lantern. Holy crap. He has the same articulation as Batman, Superman, and everything else. His accessory is a giant green hand. That is.
See, now that's where they stole all the plastic for the Shining Knight's shield.
Yeah, exactly. It does have a button on it. The hand is supposed to retract like it's opening and closing. It has, the four fingers and then the thumb.
It's a giant hand that flips you off.
No.
Evildoers,
well,
fuck you!
Let's just hope his dick is big enough for his hand, because holy crap. I mean, this hand accessory is huge. He's in a green and black suit. It's kind of completely different from what it's it's more of a lime green than it is a dark green of what his actual green color is supposed to be in the cartoon. And as I said before, he can bend at the knees and the arms, like the other heroes can. So yeah, that's the overall. I don't know. I was kind of skeptical about these. I think I should have just left them in packaging because none of them, even without their accessories, none of them can stand up correctly. You have to basically
Yeah.
break their knees to get them to pose in a decent enough position to even take one picture.
I hear with the DC pictures, you need like double-sided tape or something on their feet to
Yeah,
keep them standing in a pose.
yeah.
Now, did these come in like a set, or are they all separate?
Well, I bought it off eBay. It was actually, I believe it was 12 figures.
Uh-huh.
I only kept 4. I sold the other ones. I don't even know. I I don't know if I sold them on eBay or if I took them up to the toy shop up the street here. Um, they came with the ones I just talked about. They also came with Dr. Light, Zatanna, Wonder Woman, the Shade, and there was one other one I can't think of. It was 12 figures off of eBay. They were all individually packaged, obviously, and they're, just like if you go to the store and you look at the toy section and you look at the DC stuff, basically those toys, but just all together in one big eBay bid. I paid $43 for them, so it's not that bad considering I think the majority of the single figures in the stores are like, I don't know, $5.99, $6.99 a piece.
Yeah, 43 for 12 is a good deal.
Yeah, I mean it's not bad at all. So overall, I do like them. They actually kind of sit lower on my shelf. They're actually under all the Transformers stuff, and they actually sit in this $1 purple bin that I got from the dollar store.
They can't stand up, so they get the bin.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I should have got the two-sided sticky tape from the dollar store for $1.
No.
That would have worked.
What are you gonna talk about?
I dug out the Robots in Disguise Rail Racer.
Now, did you really dig it out, or did you just open the closet and everything fell down?
Well, this one I actually have a Robots in Disguise shelf, and this guy was in the back of the shelf, so I was risking knocking over a bunch of the other, Robots in Disguise toys to get him out, but I pulled him out, and he's actually I display him in combined robot mode, as opposed to individual robot mode or train mode. But I have the U.S. version on my shelf. I have the Japanese box set in the closet, and I got that in 2000 while I was at the BotCon that year.
Why is it every time that I see trains or vehicles like that and they combine into one giant robot, I think of friggin' Power Rangers?
I don't think so much of Power. You see, now I was thinking of Six Train when this came out, and I thought it's like, well, where's the other three? In Japan, toward the end of the MicroMaster line, I think it was 1988, 1989. They came out with combiner sets that were 6 MicroMasters that would combine into a small, maybe all 6 of them would combine into something maybe a little bit smaller than a deluxe toy. Not very big at all, because these are MicroMasters we're talking about. And they had one called Six Train. And in the U.S., they I want to say like 2003, 2004, I think they re-released those and called him Rail Racer. Yeah. But, there's not a whole lot of trains in Transformers Mythos, just because, with the exception of, let's say, Astro Train. Oh, yeah.
Astro Train is a god.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's Astro Train, and that's pretty much it. You don't have much else in the way of trains, and certainly not bullet trains, because bullet trains don't exist in the U.S.
Yeah.
There was talk with all the money that the government's flowing around in bailouts and such now about putting aside a few $1 billion for bullet train infrastructure.
See, the closest thing I've ever seen in the U.S. as far as a bullet train, outside of seeing them on TV, is the monorails at Disney World.
Close. When you say Disney World, I think of like amusement parks. They have maglev technology,
Yeah.
magnetic levitation technology at amusement parks, like the Superman ride. When you go to, I think they're at Great America,
Yeah.
or not Six Flags,
Yeah.
one of the Six Flags parks. They have the Superman ride, and that's all done on magnetic levitation. And if you've ever been on one of those, it's really neat because you don't need to go up a ramp and then slide down to pick up speed. It actually just, like, they flip a switch and poof, you're off, 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, no.
Oh yeah, it's fun.
No, that'll never happen. Never happen. I rode the Beast at Kings Island when I was 16, and I have not been on a roller coaster since.
How much lunch did you lose?
I didn't lose my lunch. I ended up, imagine me, 16 years old at probably 5'9.5", probably $180. I was pretty much where your feet go. My whole body.
Okay.
Crouched all the way down. Yeah. No. Roller coasters and me do not agree anymore.
Yeah, you just didn't sit right or something.
No, it wasn't that I didn't sit right. That first friggin' after the first drop, it goes into a tunnel. Well, I was one of the tallest people there. I mean, the rest of them were like, I don't know, 5'6", 5'7", whatever.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna hit my head in the friggin' cave. So by the end of the ride, there's pictures. I don't know if I have it or if my mom has it. There's a picture somewhere where there's other people just sitting regular, and I'm all crouched down. Yep.
That's too bad. Yeah, I love roller coasters. I think they're great.
Hey.
But anyway, so to digress,
Yes.
you don't see any bullet trains in the U.S. There's just no money for the infrastructure. People believe it's faster to fly, and it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of electricity. In Japan, where they're huge there, in France, where they have them, everything runs on nuclear power, and power is cheap and easy to come by. Whereas here, after our 3 Mile Island incident, we don't have that much in the way of nuclear power anymore, or easy generated power. In fact, half California is in a brownout at any given time during the summer because of all the air conditioning and such, running all at the same time, eating up all the power. Suffice to say, not a lot of bullet trains in the U.S., so it's kind of give or take how a bullet train-themed Transformer is going to do. When the Classics Astro Train came out, there was a lot of people saying, hey, why does he transform from a robot to a space shuttle to a bullet train? We don't see any bullet trains here. Bullet trains aren't exciting. We're familiar with these.
Yeah, that's one of the only reasons why I will never own Classics Astro Train, because no.
Well, that's my point exactly. It's like, whoa, what is this? A bullet train? What the hell? We don't have any bullet trains in the U.S. Why would I want a bullet train? It's kind of like when for alternators, Optimus Prime was a pickup truck, and they can't sell a pickup truck convoy in Japan because they don't have any pickup trucks. There are no pickup trucks in Japan. Nobody wants to buy a pickup truck there.
Yeah.
They released him, but I mean, they did a really good paint job on him in Japan, and I think people bought him more for that because he looked really good in robot mode.
Yes.
Anyhow, to digressing back to the toy, what we have is 3 bullet trains that combine, into one big robot. You've got Rail Spike, who's the upper torso and the arms, real skinny kind of plate-like arms. And then Rapid Run is the mid-torso and the backpack. He kind of fits in there in the middle. And then the third guy is Midnight Express, and he becomes both the legs. So his legs kind of look like a bullet train bent in half, with feet sprouting out either side. But this was kind of a new, novel thing as far as Transformers go. You didn't have any combiners. Well, you did. Okay, I'll get into that in a second. But you really didn't see any combiners since roughly 1992. The Generation 2 I want to say the orange version of Devastator
Yeah.
might have been the last one they released. They released the yellow version of Devastator. They released a funky version of Superion, and then they released the orange version of Devastator. And they had plans to re-release some other G1 combiners, and they never panned out. So there was a long drought as far as combiners are concerned. The Beast Wars line had a couple combiners, but
That weren't show accurate.
well, no, were they in the show at all?
I don't have.
No, they weren't in the show.
That's what I'm saying. They were just toys to be released.
Yeah, it's like, oh, look at this. It's kind of interesting, and yeah, they are kind of neat. But I mean, I don't consider them as combiners. There's three of them. They combine, true, but it wasn't like the good old days. There was a Japanese version, the Magmasaur. I forget exactly what they called them for Beast Wars Neo. They brought to the American, I want to say Beast Machines Dinobots line. He was supposed to be the leader or something. Something along those lines. There's 3 dinosaurs that combine into one robot. The dinosaurs themselves don't have individual robot modes. Yeah. They just combine into one big robot. I think his name's Magmasaur. I forget offhand. But again, they didn't have much in the way of combiners until Takara comes out with this freaky Bullet Train trio, the Bullet Train brothers, or Team Bullet Train, I think they call them. And they come to the U.S. They don't have a box set in the U.S. like they did in Japan, but they come separately. Probably a little bit too small to be, Voyager-sized toys, but too big to be deluxes. So they kind of cram them into these, Voyager-sized boxes, and they just look really out of place because they're long and skinny bullet trains, and they're in this great big box. So yeah. Anyway, I picked up all 3, even though I already had the Japanese version. But the figure itself, I'm not going to go into detail about the individual figures because I don't want to uncombine him. He's a bit of a pain. But as far as the combined figure goes, he's fairly well articulated. He doesn't have, I want to say, elbows in the middle of his arms like you would expect to see elbows, but he has kind of shoulder joints that will go up and down, and then elbows that go in and out and twist shortly below the shoulders. His legs are separate, and his hips are on ball joints, and they click nicely when they move his legs around. Unfortunately, he's got kind of like knees that are way up too close to his hips, because again, his legs are basically a bullet train bent in half. But he can do some posing. He's just really hard to stand. So for the most part, I just keep his legs spread open to hold up the bulk of his torso. And his hips kind of are. He's kind of got a skirt-looking thing on either side of him. So the skirt is basically made up of the two sides of the roof of the middle train.
Oh.
Yeah. And then the top of the train, or his torso, is mainly composed of the front of the lead train, or the front of Railspike. And the head kind of puffs up out of that. He's got a really cool-looking head, though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of an analogy here, like the original Aliens movie, how they had this H.R. Giger looking alien thing, and he's all black, and the whole top of his head is transparent, and you can kind of see a skull in the front underneath it.
Wow.
And then below that, you've got this big black jaw with the inner jaws that come out. Well, I'm drawing the analogy here because Rail Racer, the whole top of his head is transparent, and that kind of comes down into a visor. It's kind of a green transparent piece, and then the visor comes down like a jazz visor almost. Underneath the visor, you can see his eyes. He's got like these red eyes, and then his jaw, and part of his helmet is his chin. This great big chin piece that comes out below that, and it kind of reminds me of the Geiger alien.
Oh.
It's kind of a neat thing. But he's got a big shield that's actually the roof of one of the other trains, and then a great big gun that fits in the other arm that's actually a combination of two of the guns that the individual robots carried.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, they fit together. This is Rail Spike and Midnight Express's weapons that form together, and they light up. Let's see if they still work. Oh yeah, kind of. One of the top weapon actually lights up. It's got a little button that doesn't make any noise though, which is surprising for deluxe toys.
Mhm.
Especially, it's like at that price point, they probably could have fitted in some sounds or something as opposed to just one little light on one little weapon.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, he's fairly articulated. He's very well detailed. He looks really good in train mode, to be honest. He's got a lot of decals on. These might be tampograph, might be details, but or decals. Really, he's got like words on like Cybertron Max on one train, and on this one it says 500 Cybertron. On the gray one here it says Cybertron Railstar. So I mean, as kind of boring as a bullet train looks, just as a bullet train, these don't look bad.
Yeah.
And they're fairly well detailed. The paint jobs are pretty well done.
That's cool.
And he's got Autobot insignias all over him, which makes any vehicle cool.
Yeah.
So he's kind of neat. I dig him.
Right color.
Huh?
As long as they're the right color.
Exactly. No purple Autobot insignias.
Well, no, not that. I was talking about the white ones or the silver ones or the gold ones from animated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so this is a nice figure. Again, the box set from Japan's a little bit harder to find. The combiner is called JRX in Japan, and that's the J and the R stands for Japanese Railways. All of the railways in Japan used to be owned by the government, and then they were turned over to Japanese Railways, which is a combination of 7 different Japanese companies that handle all the rail lines in Japan, and they work very closely with each other. I'm not sure how they do that without competition, but they all kind of work as a single entity, which is nice. Which is I want to say how you can get bullet trains in the U.S. or I mean in Japan. You wouldn't see bullet trains in the U.S. because the different railway lines, different railway companies wouldn't be able to cooperate to that extent.
Yeah.
I don't want to say down with capitalism, because I love capitalism. But but at the same time, it's like, well, crap, if they'd only work with each other a little bit, we wouldn't have these problems.
Yeah, I mean, outside of like freight trains and stuff like that, the only actual passenger train company I know here in the U.S. is Amtrak, and I seriously doubt that they're going to cooperate with anybody else when it comes to trains.
Right. Well, Amtrak, doesn't own the lines.
Right.
I mean, there are other companies. Well, especially here in the Midwest. I live right by Chicago, and Chicago is a major shipping hub, be it train or plane. I mean, the shipping lanes here, the highways, the trainways, everything is very, 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 very congested, and that the freight trains here are a major player.
Yeah.
The freight train lobby, let's say, is probably just insane.
Oh yeah, most likely.
And the idea that you'd have these bullet trains using maglev technology going 200 miles an hour, and hey, you better move your freight out of the way, so that this passenger train can get by. That's not going to fly.
What I don't understand is why don't they? I compared the bullet trains to the monorails at Disney World, like to get around from place to place in Disney World. I don't understand why they just don't have freights on a monorail system because they could use the maglev technology. They could, go faster and get to the destination faster than they could on a regular train track.
I think it's a weight issue.
Well, it's probably,
You can cram
city.
200 people onto a bullet train, and it's still gonna weigh far less than 200 S10 pickups on a freight train.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm not entirely sure of the fine details,
Yeah.
but it's just it'll be interesting when we do start seeing bullet trains in the U.S. I mean, I would love to have a high-speed rail between where I live in Northwest Indiana and Chicago. Yeah, I think. In fact, there's talk of a new rail line that'll go from Chicago down to Northwest Indiana and then down into Indianapolis. And even that's just going to be a regular rail line. It's going to cost billions of dollars and probably take another 10 years to build. And I'm wondering, well, why couldn't we do something? Why couldn't we replace some of the lines that we have now with high-speed rail? Again, Chicago is a major hub, and I'm sure that there's some demand to have, a bullet train route that goes from, let's say, Washington, D.C. into Chicago and then across over into Seattle and then possibly down into California from there.
Yeah.
But again, people say, hey, it takes up too much electricity. It's faster to fly. The infrastructure is just not there right now. It's going to cost billions of dollars to set that up. We didn't jump on it early enough like the Japanese did.
Yes, well, we're always so slow here in America.
We're all backwards.
That's it.
Them damn Americans. You're all fat and lazy. Throwing your food away. Children in China are starving. Little kids making rail racer toys, making 2 pennies an hour, and we're here buying them and throwing away our fast food wrappers full of French fries. But to digress, I would say, yeah, I was really excited for this toy when it came out. Again, it was the first new combiner that we'd seen in a long time. I really like it in robot mode. I really liked the Robots in Disguise line in general. Over and above the stuff that came out of Japan, even the new stuff that they had supplementing the line, like the Bruticus we talked about before.
Yeah. Well, now that you mention it, now that you've talked about Railway, I remember watching the RID cartoon because originally I thought it was part of G1. I thought Rail Racer, all 3 of those I thought they were part of G1, and I'm like, wait, no, that's probably not right. And then you said they're part of RID, and I actually remember now watching episodes with them in it, with the Rail Racer characters in it. Of course, I don't remember what episode it was for the life of me. I don't even know if RID's on DVD, but I do remember when RID was on the air. I remember watching that show for some odd reason.
No, I liked the show. I really did. I mean, some people thought it was too silly. The Japanese shows tend to be a little silly anyway. Like Beast Wars in Japan was pretty silly. And when they brought it to America, they changed up a lot of the voice acting to make it a little more serious, a little more interesting for our audience. But, a giant mechanical shark that flies through the air and sings to himself, you can't really serious that up for American audiences. I mean, it's going to be silly no matter what. And, Skybite was one of my favorite characters in that show. I so dug Skybite. And he really got the shitty end of the stick there for the most part, because I just felt bad for the guy. It's like, yeah, he deserves his spot in the sun,
Only reason why I don't like RID is because it has that bastard Neil Kaplan as Optimus Prime.
Well, David Kaye still got to return as Megatron, though. I didn't like the voice he did for that Megatron, but
I'm talking about RID.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Wait, he can't.
David Kaye did Megatron in RID.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was before Beast Wars, though, wasn't it?
It was after Beast Wars.
No, was it?
There was Beast Wars, Beast Machines, and then Robots in Disguise, and he did Megatron for all 3 shows.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now,
No.
I'm assuming Gary Chalk was doing something else, and he didn't want to do Optimus Prime.
No, I thought it went G1, G2, RID, Beast Wars, Beast Machines, and then animated. I thought RID.
Where do you think Robots in Disguise fit in? It came out in 2001.
Oh, really? Oh, holy.
Yeah.
I thought it was early. See, I thought it was early. I thought it was in between G2 and Beast Wars.
Oh no! What happened is Takara in Japan took it upon themselves to ditch the Beast Wars theme, and they created,
Okay.
basically they wanted to return to the roots and make cars that turn into robots as opposed to
Beast.
animals that turn into robots. And Hasbro already had plans to do Armada,
Yeah.
but they weren't ready yet. So they said, okay, you know what? We're going to take this stuff that's coming out of Japan, and repackage it as Robots in Disguise. And that lasted about a year, and until Armada was ready.
Okay.
And then they brought out Armada.
Okay. Because I thought it was in between G2 and B. Okay. I thought it was way before Beast Wars. I thought that was the crappy show that we got before the essence that is Beast Wars. Okay, never mind.
No, well, there was G1 in America, G2 in America, and then basically everything went to Japan.
Yeah.
For several years. And then in America, we brought out Beast Machines, and Japan then jumped on the Beast Machines bandwagon. Yeah. And even after we stopped doing Beast Machines, to move on to, Beast Wars. And then Japan did Beast Wars. When we stopped doing Beast Wars and moved on to Beast Machines, Japan still did more Beast Wars. They did, Beast Wars Neo and Beast Wars the Second. And then a few years later, they went ahead and ran their own Beast Machines line, or the Beast Returns, I think they called it. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, but suffice to say, 2000, 2001 was when Takara came out with their. Originally, I thought it was supposed to be called Transformers 2000, and then the line itself was called Car Robots in Japan. And the Car Robots line was then brought to America as Robots in Disguise.
All right. Well, I think we're going to close this one out. So, thank you for joining us here on Transformers ToyCast. There are several ways you can get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show. The first is you can visit www.geekcastradio.com and find all the other GCRN podcasts there. The second is that you can stop by our forums at PredicateEmpire.com/CafeSpark and get all your GCRN/Transformers discussion topics there. The third is you can leave the show feedback on iTunes. Not exactly sure how many, I don't know what our subscriber number is. I'd have to ask Steve that, but
11.
Shut the hell up. More than freaking 11. So please leave us reviews on iTunes. The fourth is you can visit the earth-2.net forums and find our threads for the shows in the self-promotion section. And the fifth is the email address, which is tftoycast@gmail.com. We now have a voicemail line. Call us and leave us your thoughts on each episode. Be sure to say which show you're leaving the message for. The number is 502-526-5821. You can also follow us on Twitter. The show name there is TFToycast. Mine is TFG1Mike. And what is your Twitter?
I'm at Pecan Court Michael. PECANCTMICHAEL.
M1 USA.
Mickey Mouse.
Yes. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Transformers ToyCast, and wish that you'll join us next time. For now, I am TFG1Mike with
Michael Wilson.
Saying the more words of Optimus Prime, transform and roll out, and thank you for listening. Until next time.
Sword of Omens, give me sight beyond sight. I see a new episode of ToonCast coming this week.